Okay, hi guys. So I realized after recording my first lecture that you guys wouldn't be able to like see the models, and on the quizzes I have pictures of like the actual models, like this guy with different things labels that you have to identify. So I thought it might be beneficial to have like a little supplementary video with my face again, but showing you like the model and like talking through the terms that you like need to know. Not sure if you're gonna be able to see this very well. Never done this before. So we'll try it out for this one, and then we'll see if you like it and think it's beneficial. Then when we talk about bones and muscles, I can do similar videos with those. So let me know if you can see stuff, if there's something that would make this better. But let's give her a go. So the first lab we talked about you know, directional terms and stuff, but also about the organs and the organ systems, and I kind of just skimmed over that because normally you have time in class to look through it yourself, but I just want to show you the model that you're going to be seeing on the quiz to make sure you can identify everything on that. So here's the model. You can see up here we have the lungs underneath the rib cage, and these actually come off. You can see a little bit better, but you have the two lungs out here, obviously the heart in the middle there. This big, I don't know, brown looking guy, that's your liver. The very bottom of the liver, that's your gallbladder. And when we talk about abdominal pelvic quadrants, when we divide this into 4 sections, gallbladder is always a good one to ask like which quadrant it's in, because it's only in one, which is the upper right quadrant. A lot of the other ones kind of go into other quadrants, but gallbladder, this little green guy, the bottom of your liver, is in the upper right quadrant. And remember too, when we're talking about abdominal pelvic quadrants, it's abdominal pelvic cavity. So that's like from your diaphragm down, right? So your heart or lungs are never going to be included into those quadrants or the regions, only the stuff in your abdominal pelvic cavity, which is down here. Okay, so just from the front here, you can see again the liver with the gallbladder. This little tan guy is your stomach, and then you have your intestines down here. So the blue going along the outside would be your large intestine, and then in the middle is your small intestine. Okay, so we can take this apart to kind of get a better view. Heart again, but liver on the back side, you can see the gallbladder a little bit better down there, right? But it's just that little green dot at the bottom. Here you have a better view of the stomach. Right, so it's kind of kidney bean shaped a little bit, attaches to your esophagus, right? So esophagus is what brings food from your mouth down to your stomach. The other tube you have in your throat is your trachea, which I don't know if you can see very well. I'll try to get a closer view later, but your trachea is in front of or anterior to your esophagus. And down here you can see it splits and goes to each lung. So your trachea is your windpipe. It brings wind to your respiratory system. Esophagus, part of your digestive system, brings food to your stomach. Okay, so that's your stomach. I'm just going to take that out. So now you can really see this top part. It's called the transverse section of your large intestine. Small intestine again. Okay, I'm going to take all of this out so we can get to this deepest layer, and maybe I'll bring it a little closer. I don't know if that helps to see. Okay, so behind all that stuff you have a few other organs that I think are the most difficult for people. So this kind of peach colored guy, I always think it looks like an ear of corn. That's your pancreas. Your pancreas is part of your digestive and your endocrine system. You also have over here, this little purple guy is your spleen. I don't know if you can see. I hope you can see. I don't know if there's shadows. This little purple guy on the side here is your spleen, pancreas. You also have 2 kidneys, which are these little bean guys on either side, little brown beans. Your kidneys attach to your bladder, which is down here in the very bottom, through your ureters. So these little tubes are your ureters. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer and pick this up. Okay, so again, spleen is this purple guy, pancreas is the corn cob looking thing. On either side we have our kidneys, 1, and the other one's kind of hidden, but 2. And then the ureters bringing urine from the kidneys down to the bladder. So the bladder, kidneys, and ureters are part of the urinary system. And yeah, and then the very last thing, I think that's on your terms list, pretty straightforward, but this up here would be the brain. Not too bad. So those are the organs. And I also, really quick, let me get them out, want to show the brain slices. Okay, just so that you guys can see the different planes that you can cut the brain in and the pictures that you'll see on the quiz. Alright, so the first brain slice, I'm going to move you back again. The first plane we talked about is a coronal plane, which cuts the body into like a front and a back, anterior and posterior part. And I said I think of like the head like a loaf of bread, and you like cut it like you would slice bread this way. I don't know if that even makes sense, but if we take this brain out, if you cut it this way, right, so separating the front from the back, that's a coronal section, okay? And it can be anywhere along the brain, but anytime you cut the front from the back, it's coronal. And this is what that's gonna look like. So I like this side probably a little bit better. So you can see the two hemispheres. This one has your cerebellum at the bottom, but that would be a coronal section. And you're definitely gonna see this on the quiz and final exam. So coronal section. You can also cut the brain into a right and a left section. So right now this is only one hemisphere of the brain, normally there's two. So if you cut it right down the middle, that would be a mid-sagittal. Mid-sagittal or median section, which this brain would be cut in. So you can see all of these internal structures when you do a mid-sagittal section. But anytime you do a section separating right and left, wherever it may be, it's sagittal. Okay, so this is an example of a sagittal section. And this would be sagittal, not mid-sagittal, because this one's not directly down the center of the brain, right? So for it to be mid-sagittal, it needs to be directly down the center, which this is not, so it's just simply a sagittal section. All right, and then finally, if we cut our brain, or any part of our body, into a top and bottom, superior and inferior part, so kind of like, you can see like this line here, that would be an example of a transverse or horizontal section. So it's that one, I remember it's always parallel to the ground if it's horizontal, transverse. And a brain slice like that, well, if I take this off, you can kind of tell. That's terrible, just kidding. I'll just show you what it looks like. A transverse section would look like this. Okay, so you can see this is like the view from the top of the brain. You're really viewing the brain like this, right? So you're cutting top and bottom. So this would be like here in my head, right? A coronal section would be like this. And a sagittal section, this one, would be like this. Okay, so you have the three different planes, and we will ask those on these brain slices that we have. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you for Lab 1. Hopefully, maybe this helped a little bit. Can see the models, maybe pretend like you're actually the one here with the models, not me. Let me know, again, if there's like things that you think would be better if I did in these videos. Again, I want you to get the most out of this lab as possible. So doing something a little more interactive than just like a PowerPoint reading, I thought might be beneficial. So let me know if you can see, if you think this is a gigantic waste of my time and your time. If no one's watching these, I'm not gonna waste my time and do it, but if you like it, then I'll do some more of these. So, okay, good job today, guys. Great work.